Am I the reincarnation of Lenny Bruce? I've got his book. I'm going to read from chapter 17. The rumor's true that uh, Lenny Bruce is me, or something. It's hard to describe. Why should he have anything to do with me? And vice versa. Why should I have to? Why him? I don't want to be him. It just seems to be true. The timing adds up. There are a lot of little things that make sense about it. So let's see. I opened up to chapter 17. I didn't read this. I only read the little bit here at the beginning to see what it is. The first sentence, it's got in parentheses, are you a sick comic? I'll read as myself what I already read, because then the rest of it will be spontaneous. I read this book a couple years ago. I don't remember it too much, only some basics about it, but I won't digress into those. Someone asks, are you a sick comic? Why do they call you a sick comic? Do you mind being called a sick comic? It is impossible to label me. I develop, on the average, 4 minutes of new material a night, constantly growing and changing my point of view. I'm heinously guilty of the paradoxes I assail in our society. And that's all I read before turning on the Audacity software to speak into the audio system. So let's get to it. Hopefully this will be fun. So yeah, if I'm Lenny Bruce, if I was him before I was me, that should become apparent, I suppose, through this reading. I read this whole book a couple years ago. I don't remember much. Just basically saying I'm going to read whatever I read now. I have not seen. I know what you know just about. Are you a sick comic? Why do they call you a sick comic? Do you mind being called a sick comic? It is impossible to label me. I develop, on the average, 4 minutes of new material a night, constantly growing and changing my point of view. I'm heinously guilty of the paradoxes I assail in our society. The reason for the label sick comic is the lack of creativity among journalists and critics. There's a comedy actor from England with a definite Chaplin-esque quality. Mr. Guinness, do you mind being called a Chaplin-esque comic? There's a comedian by the name of Peter Sellers who has a definite Guinness-esque quality. Mr. Sellers, why do they say you have a Guinness-esque quality? The motivation of the interviewer is not to get a terse, accurate answer, but rather to write an interesting, slanted article within the boundaries of the editorial outlook of his particular publication, so that he will be given the wherewithal to make the payment on his MG. Therefore, this writer prostitutes his integrity by asking questions, the answers to which he already has, much like a cook who follows a recipe and mixes the ingredients properly. Okay, I'm going to reread that part. Therefore, this writer, does he mean himself? They're talking about this interview. I can see how this Lenny Bruce guy was tough to follow. Alright, so therefore, this writer prostitutes his integrity by asking questions, the answers to which he already has, much like a cook. He's obviously talking about the reporters. I got confused because the writer is Lenny Bruce.